Hi, everyone. I'm very, very grateful to be here today. Very grateful to have been asked to be here by Amanda. And I've just loved learning everything that I have so far about the Unitarian Universalists. So I'm just very grateful for the opportunity to be here today. And yes, I'm going to be talking about sound healing. So what is sound healing? Sound healing is essentially the use of vibrational energy in the form of sound and music to achieve health and wellness goals. Facilitators use sound as a tool to work with their clients, either one-on-one or in group settings, to reach their desired outcomes. Sometimes in this field, we're referred to as sound healers, but in my philosophy, that's not entirely accurate. I see myself more as a facilitator. I facilitate the creation of a calm environment that will help participants to relax and focus on their experience. I also guide participants through parts of the session through meditation, creating a focused intention, and discussing their experiences leading up to, during, and following their sessions. So the real healing is always done by the participants themselves. I'm not reaching in and fixing anyone or changing anything. I'm creating the space and the soundscape that's conducive to their healing. And that's why I say that we co-create their desired outcomes, because we all have inside of us the power to heal ourselves of anything in life, given the supportive environment, support from others, and belief in ourselves. There are a variety of applications for sound treatments and a growing body of research to support positive healing outcomes through the use of sound therapy and when sound therapy is used alongside other healing modalities. Therapeutic sound interventions have been used for millennia to manage conditions such as ADHD, depression, PTSD, autism, insomnia, physical pain, and more. Other benefits of therapeutic sound include improved sleep, improved memory, improved immune functions, lower stress, lower blood pressure, and a host of other positive effects. These benefits come when the body and mind are allowed to relax into states much deeper than the active problem-solving state which we spend most of our time in. Lowering stress is another key aspect to sound healing. Many recent studies have shown that stress is one of the largest contributing factors to the development of disease and ailments in the body. Using sound, we lower stress and activate the parasympathetic nervous system. Once this stress and active thinking has been calmed, our physiological functions work more efficiently and our brains take time away from thinking about our work, our school, tasks, and worries. In this relaxed state, while focusing on the sounds being played, participants report freeing thoughts, memories coming up they haven't thought of in years, vivid visualizations, unearthed emotions, and more. Sound therapy is also sought by those interested in naturally shifting their consciousness, as sound and music are known to have a powerful effect on our awareness. People use sound or specially designed music to help deepen meditation, evoke deep or repressed memories or emotions, and enhance any kind of inward experience. People have been doing what we're calling therapeutic sound for ages all over the world. In parts of Africa, especially West Africa, drumming has been used in many aspects of daily life, from community building to healing, hunting, to even communicating over long distances. Some traditions have a drummer play a specific rhythm with a person who's ill for hours at a time. In some parts of India, one may play the tampura with a sick person. The tampura is a drone instrument that alternates slowly between harmonious intervals of notes. In many parts of Asia and the Middle East, large metallophones, such as gongs, were used to announce the arrival of important people, with the sound or number of strikes correlating to their status. They also have been used extensively in spiritual and meditative settings. Almost all spiritual traditions use music, whether it be instrumental, singing in groups, or through rhythm. These often sacred practices are used to connect us to the divine, each other, and ourselves. Making music with others has the added benefits of creating feelings of community, which is greatly beneficial. Physiologically, engaging in practices like group singing stimulates both hemispheres in the brain and the vagus nerve, as well as increasing blood and breath flow through the body. Group drumming additionally has the benefits of cardiovascular health, as well as an effect of synchronizing participants' brainwave patterns. And even if one is not participating, but just listening, they also receive the benefits from these practices. Now, speaking of drumming, there's one technique I would like to share with you here. This is called a frame drum, and I want to share what is called the shamanic beat pattern. It comes from various shamanic traditions from around the world. It's a fast, steady pattern of about 180 to 240 beats per minute. And while it's very fast, it has a calming effect on the brain. This is because of the steady nature of the pattern. The brain listens, then begins to relax as it hears that there isn't much change in the pattern, and it settles into the rhythm. At the same time, we know from EEG brain scans that the brain waves begin to sync up with the pattern itself, mimicking the same patterns seen in meditative states. I've also personally witnessed this beat's power to induce REM-like effects on clients, seeing their eyes begin to move rapidly and entering a deep, restful state after only a couple minutes of playing. For great results, it's best to listen to this pattern for at least 10 or 15 minutes to become fully immersed in the experience, but I'll just play for a minute or so you can get a taste. So now I invite you to close your eyes, ground yourself, focus on your breath, and focus on the sound for the next minute or so. How was that for everyone? I wanted to just keep going. I get lost in it too. Something interesting about sound healing is that while I play the same thing for everyone involved, everyone is going to have a different experience. Some sounds work better for some and not others, especially when considering things like personal preference, life experiences, and cultural background. I had an awakening experience on the true power of what we're working with here at a sound bath I once held. At one part, I played this drum just like that, going around the room and playing for people lying on their mats just right above their bodies. Afterwards, one person told me how much they loved the drum, how it sent them to other places and deepened their experiences. And at the same event, I was approached by another person who said that they were feeling very blissed out and peaceful until the drum started playing. And once they heard the drum, they began to feel overwhelming fear and the urge to run away. So for one person, it helped them, and for another, it caused much anxiety. This is just one example of how sound affects us all differently and the power it can have on our beings. Now, I've gathered that this is a pretty hip crowd who probably doesn't need much convincing that sound can help heal and transform your life, but I know that you also value a certain amount of healthy skepticism. Some people I've talked to have similar questions to I can understand how music can help calm people down, but how can sound really do anything physically? How can it alleviate pain or do any of these other things you're mentioning? Well, that's where physics comes in, and with something called cymatics. Let me hit the right button here. Great. We may think of the sound we hear, but not always about the physical aspect of what's happening. Here I have a picture of what we usually think of as sound traveling in sound waves. These waves are really pockets of compressed and spaced out air which we perceive through our ears. These waves are measured in frequency, with the unit of measurement being hertz. We know from modern physics that physical solid matter is really made up of tiny particles. We also know that as long as they're above the absolute zero temperature mark, all of these particles are constantly moving and vibrating all the time. By this, we can understand that everything has its own frequency, and that everything, this building, the stage, your body, your dog even, is made of vibration. Essentially, everything is sound. So if everything is made of vibrational energy, we should be able to manipulate matter with similar vibrational energy coming from sound we produce. I'm sure many here can relate to the experience of sound through more than just their ears. When you're at a concert, if you're standing right next to the speaker and you're feeling the bass in your belly, that's feeling the sound physically. And next, I wanted to move to a topic in sound healing called cymatics. Cymatics is the study of sound's vibrational effect on physical matter, and especially its ability to create geometrical shapes and patterns in the physical matter. This clip here is going to demonstrate how sound affects physical matter. And I'll keep talking as it comes up to show you. And we're going to see what's happening at the molecular level inside of our very bodies anytime we receive sound, not just when it's coming from the subwoofers. So here they set up a metal plate and they connect it to a frequency tone generator right there. And what they will do is they will shake some salt onto the plate so that it's easily visible, and they are going to start playing frequencies to vibrate this metal plate. And you'll see that when they begin to vibrate the metal plate, the vibrations will make different geometrical patterns just with the vibrations and changing the salt. And with the different frequencies, we see that they create different patterns. Changing the frequency creates more intricate patterns. So this video gives us a visualization of what's happening at the molecular level when vibration interacts with matter. And it isn't just solid matter. Water is another excellent conductor of sound, and with a significant portion of our bodies being made up of water, that allows our whole beings down to the cells to be activated by sound, similarly to what we're seeing in this video. Another important aspect of sound healing is the idea of entrainment. Entrainment is when you have two objects near each other vibrating at different frequencies. With time and proximity, one of the two objects' vibrations will influence the other to begin vibrating at the same frequency. And as we can see here, intention is another huge idea and use in sound healing, using the sounds to carry whatever intention, whatever healing intention you have in the session. The purer the tone, the more effective this is. For example, when most instruments play notes, we don't just hear the one note it's playing. We hear that note and many other frequencies above it, and that's what gives the instrument a unique sound called its timbre. However, these quartz singing bowls here produce extremely pure tones because of the nature of quartz crystal being a great conductor. They're tuned and only produce the frequency to which they're tuned. So I will just strike them lightly here so you can hear the purity of the sound that they produce. I hope everybody could hear that. This makes them effective tools in sound healing for bringing harmonious cohesion to the mind and the body. Entrainment is also used to affect brainwave patterns. There are layers of brainwave states we can be in. Our typical state is the beta state, where we are most focused and active. Going down to alpha, which is an awake but relaxed and aware state, often reached with deep meditation. Next is theta, which we access in sleep. This is a dreamy, restful state. And the lowest of all, accessed during REM sleep, is delta, which is a very deep, dreamless, and healing state of mind. In each of these states, our brainwaves fall into specific and measurable frequency ranges, as you can see here. Knowing these ranges, we can play frequencies within the desired range to entrain the brain into these different states. There's a lot of music out there that incorporates these very low frequencies within other calming sounds to induce these restful states. Conversely, one could listen to music within the beta range or even the gamma range to help increase their focus, especially if they find extended periods of focus to be challenging. This is specifically good for people with circumstances like ADHD. Entrainment is also in full effect with rhythm. The shamanic beat pattern I played for you uses this same idea of entrainment. When the brain hears this sustained pattern, over time it begins to synchronize with the beats. Apart from the benefits of harmony and cohesion, the brain can also benefit from being overwhelmed with sound. This is one of the gong's main superpowers. Where the quartz bowls produce a very clear, pure tone, the gong produces a wash of frequencies. This style of gong here is a Chinese style called a chow, the larger one. And the smaller one that I was just introduced to today by Hal, thank you Hal, is called sometimes a temple gong, sometimes a nipple gong, for obvious reasons by the way it is designed. The chow gong is known for their deep vibrations, which induce strong feelings of groundedness. They produce deep tones as well as medium and high voices. All of these sounds together create almost too much information for the brain to pick apart individually, which makes it simply relax and take in the information without critically deciphering it. As the brain relaxes, this wash of sound helps to ease it into the lower brainwave states. So now I'd like to give another brief demonstration with the gong for you to experience for yourselves. So again, I invite you to ground yourself, have your feet flat on the floor, focus on your breath, close your eyes, and surrender to the sound for just a minute or so. The final aspect of sound healing I'd like to share with you today is the importance of silence. Silence plays just as important a role in sound healing as the sounds themselves. When incorporated between different instruments and different energy levels of playing, and especially at the end of the session, silence helps the body and brain to recalibrate. It's in the silence where much of the healing takes place. It allows for a break from receiving sound and for all of the benefits of the session to fully sink in and to take hold. Sometimes people have their most meaningful moments of clarity in the silences. And these silences are never truly silent. We become more able to perceive subtle sounds and energies around ourselves. And it's this newfound awareness, along with the many other aspects of sound healing, that make this practice so magically effective. So I covered a lot of topics today, and I can assure you that there is so much more to learn about sound healing for optimal wellness. If anything I shared today interested you, I encourage you to continue researching sound healing for yourself. Look into various styles of world music and follow what sings to you. If you're interested in my work or my events, please find me online under the name Sonic Wellness. There I share short sound meditations as well as postings about upcoming events. It's been a pleasure to be here today. Thank you so much. I hope to hope to return soon. I hope to remember this too. I hope to return sometime soon to be able to offer sound baths to this lovely community. So thank you very much, and thank you for being here today.
I think we have time for a few questions.
Great.
Jeffrey, feel free to answer any questions, comments you might have. Pat's going to make her way around the microphone.
Yeah, most of us have these devices, or a lot of us do anyway, that where you press a button and usually when you're trying to go to sleep, you hear waves, or you hear static, or you hear a trickling brook, or you hear rain falling and so on. I was just wondering what your opinion is of those devices as opposed to maybe making recordings of some of the sounds that you've produced for us here. Would that be a better way, perhaps, of going to sleep? Or maybe the purpose isn't really to go to sleep, but to become more aware of.
Well, it depends on your intention. If you're listening to it just before bed and you do want to sleep, then whatever works for you is great. If you love the sound of a babbling brook or waves or whale songs, then use it for that. That is a good point you bring up. Like during sound baths, a lot of times people get so relaxed that they will fall asleep, and I do tend to invite people to try to not fall asleep, as it is an active meditation. Your attention is important because you're having an active experience. So while focusing on the sounds, that's where the experience comes in. But because sound is physical, if people do happen to fall asleep, then they're not losing anything at all either. They are still getting a lot of the benefits, and especially if they fall asleep, then they probably needed the sleep. So they're getting the benefits of the sound and added rest at the same time.
Go ahead.
Anyone? Oh.
Right, over here, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so, goodness. I'm a little distracted by hearing my voice. You mentioned having recordings.
Mm-hmm.
How does the effect of sound therapy versus having a recording versus physically being in the room with the actual instrument, is there less of an effect?
There is some difference. There definitely is some difference. Being in the room is definitely optimal because you're getting the physical vibrations from the source, whether it be from the gong or the bowls or a flute or whatever you're playing. You're getting the vibrations, the acoustic vibrations, straight from it. However, recorded sound, the vibrations are still sound vibrations. So then if you're listening to recording sound or recorded sound, it depends a lot more on the quality of the recording. If you have a really good microphone and you can pick up the very detailed timbre and all of the frequencies, then it'll be a really effective recording. It's certainly better than nothing at all. But in that case, it does come down to the quality of the recording. And if you have a better recording equipment, then it'll give better benefits. See one here.
Excuse me.
Keep sneaking up on you, don't I?
Yes. What relationship between, you were talking about the frequency of the beat making much of a difference. What relationship between the frequency and the amplitude or the pitch of the sound?
Well, the frequency and the pitch are pretty much the same thing. The frequency is just putting a numerical value on what the sound is. And the amplitude would be the volume of it. So that would be a bit more looking towards your intention. If you're looking for relaxation, then you'll probably want to go for a lower amplitude. If you're looking for activation, trying to bring up some of the repressed or just maybe subconscious emotions or memories, then you may go for a larger amplitude for that.
Can you comment on the impact of jarring and nerve-wracking sounds on the body versus calming sounds?
Yeah. So I mentioned that all of our cells and our atomic particles that make us up are vibrating at a certain rate. It's thought that we have an ideal or a home, you could call it, vibrational rate. When we're most relaxed, we will be vibrating at a certain frequency. And if we are agitated, feeling different emotions, it could also be, that could be a different frequency as well. It could be either not as cohesive, there could be a lot of different frequencies causing some dissonance or conflict, or sounds from outside of the body. Jarring sounds, like you mentioned, are going to be very dissonant. And thinking about the idea of entrainment, those dissonant sounds coming towards us can change our own vibrational frequency. So yeah, the outside dissonant, jarring sounds are definitely going to have an effect physically on our bodies and the brainwave states. And then, of course, with more cohesive, purer tones, we can entrain into a more harmonious state. I don't know who to direct it to.
So is that why when you have a cat on your lap and you're petting the cat and the cat is purring,
Yeah.
it's so relaxing?
It is, yeah. There are actually studies about cats purring and the frequency ranges of purring, and they happen to fall within a certain range. And yeah, so yeah, there are absolutely studies, and there's fact behind. I mean, our personal experience is fact, but you're not the only one who feels a peaceful, relaxing feeling from cats purring. Yeah, it's right. I believe it's like 22 to 44 hertz, so it's very low, and mostly outside of a lot of it is outside of our range of hearing, except for the higher frequencies in it. But yeah, the purring is proven to be very relaxing.
Cats are entraining us.
That's right, the cats are entraining us, they know. Oh, yeah, wait, one here.
Where?
Right here.
Oh,
All right, so personally, I have a problem getting to the highest level of sleep. Now, using sound therapy, is it possible to retrain the brain to get to the deepest sleep possible?
Yeah, you can definitely use sound to induce that. I would say you could start by looking up. There are lots of videos where people make music with the different brainwave state frequencies. So they'll put that frequency underneath some calming music. So I would say to look in the delta or the theta range of sleep music. There's a lot that's designed specifically for that. You could also find recordings of just that frequency, and you won't hear much if it's just that because it's outside of our threshold of hearing. But having that on would be effective, or if you like the added music, then you could find videos, recordings within the delta and the theta range with some relaxing music on top and see how that helps you.
I was going to do a testimony for the power of music.
Oh, yeah?
And the last couple of years, my husband has had some major health issues, and we found that we attend the concerts that the School of Music has, and somehow the live sound is very relaxing for him. And the lovely thing about it, if anyone would care to attend, is that the concerts are free. You don't have to get tickets, and there'll be everything from a philharmonic to a smaller groups. And he's just found that very comforting as he's been recovering.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I can attest to that too. I love going to the concerts there. They're always great.
Okay, one more.
One more.
It's all you.
Some time ago, I bought like this package of different sounds for different purposes from this guy, Lee Spusta. I don't know if you heard of him. He has a website called Cymatics, like PSI.
Oh, very cool.
But I've like used the theta ones for creative writing, which has been really helpful to kind of increase dreaming, and some of the delta ones for like to fall into naps faster.
Yeah.
But I've never really quite understood like how to use the like tracks for gamma or what that would be for, like some of the higher ranges. So like, what are people like? What are some use cases for that, or in your experience, like how have you found it helpful for people for certain purposes?
I would say that those would be good for increased focus specifically. So, not that they wouldn't work for things more creative, but maybe more tasks that include more executive functioning, more calculating, things like that. Would be better to listen to the higher ranges in the beta or in the gamma ranges. Would be better to focus on some tasks. And you know, everybody's different too. So it sounds like you have benefit with some of the lower ones with creative aspects. But yeah, sorry, to answer your question, the higher ranges, beta and gamma, would be, I would say, more for calculative, not sure if that's a word, calculating tasks in my mind.
So kind of like reading sort of logic.
Yeah, reading, logic. If you're doing your taxes, I don't know, things that are not creative but are tasks. Maybe coding, things like that.
But that, will you necessarily have like a kind of frenetic feeling or experience if you entrain to those higher frequencies?
That would depend. I would say that would depend on the individual. When I've used them, I've used them for like cleaning the house, but I haven't felt overwhelmed by them at all. But if someone were to start to feel feelings of being overwhelmed and they had that playing, then I would say simply just shut it off and stop the feeding of that sound for a while and then see how you feel. I haven't necessarily heard of people getting like anxiety from listening to them, but I would definitely believe that that's possible, as sound affects everyone differently. Yeah, I could see that for sure.
Oh, well, thank you. Wonderful presentation.
Thank you.